Welcome to the Once Upon an Island podcast. I am your host, Wesley, and of course, I am joined by my winner analysis co-host,
Rebekah.
And today, we're talking about the 12 remaining people of Survivor 45. And Rebekah,
yes.
I watched this episode the night before we record, because we record this on Thursday, so I've had time to let it set in what happened. It just happened for you. You just watched it before we got on the podcast. How do you feel about that tribal council?
Honestly, I do think a little bit in shock still. It was crazy. It was entertaining. It was exciting. Honestly, my adrenaline is still pounding a little bit.
Is it really?
So, I'm ready to talk about it.
You were
Yeah.
rooting for
I'm
Kaleb?
excited. I was, but I think I was also just like so invested in here's the thing. I love chaos. And
Yes,
especially
me
when
too.
the chaos has like an outcome that I'm okay with. And so, it was just like, I was just very invested, just very excited to witness it.
Imagine being J. Maya, like actually being her, and then watching everyone be so excited that Kaleb got saved and you're gone.
Yeah. I did appreciate that they cut to her and like showed, because as soon as the first vote was read and it wasn't Emily's name, she knew.
Oh, the moment his thing read safe, I went back and rewatched it. They cut to her and she already knew the moment his thing said safe.
Yeah.
She knew it.
Yep.
What did J. Maya do to...
Here's the thing. I feel bad for her because like I don't think that she did anything wrong. I just don't think she was like necessarily like as good at the game as everyone else who was there. Which is just like really unfortunate because like, I mean, she even said, to Jeff, like, hey, like, I forget exactly, but, something along the lines of like, I'm really glad I got to play. And it's like, I don't know, like, yeah, I do feel bad that she was sort of collateral there, but also at the same time, like, it was going to happen eventually, to be honest.
Austin wanted revenge for his sandwich.
Yeah, I love that he kept bringing that up. He's still so mad about the sandwiches. And honestly, fair enough. Like, yeah, I get it. I'm team sandwiches.
We're going to go alphabetically through every player. Chapter markers for those of you who are on YouTube. If you're listening on the podcast platforms, I appreciate it. We do upload this to Patreon the day we record it, and then YouTube on Fridays. So if you want to listen early, check us out on YouTube. I also make scripted videos. But I bring this up because I guess let's just start with Austin, because I think Austin's sandwich revenge is funny, but I don't want to like talk about it separate of Austin. So here we go. Austin has 25 confessionals. He got 3 last night. He is sitting on a hidden immunity idol that is now good till Final 5, and the advantage amulet, which just upgraded, but I don't even know what. I think it's steal a vote now, but who cares? Because we know really it's not being played unless it becomes an idol. So in reality, if he can get rid of Kellie, he has another idol. So Austin's in a good position. His sandwich revenge tour just started. I want to point out, Rebekah, what I thought, like, at first it's like it's a little funny. He's like, oh, the sandwich, I want to take revenge. It's like, okay. You know what was funny to me is once he won the merge feast and he's still talking about the sandwich afterwards. Yes. That sandwich is more important than the merge feast.
It's more about the principle of the sandwich than the actual sandwich at this point.
The sandwich did look good though. I like that he had an entire feast and he was still, it's like the one that got away, you date somebody and then like if you're still single later after you break up with them, you're like, maybe that was the one that got away. Even if you've gone on 10 other dates. This is not. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, I know food and people are not the same, but it's the same idea. It's like, but what about that one person who I broke up with like an idiot? That's the sandwich that got away for Austin. So.
Except it wasn't, he didn't break up with the sandwich.
No, he didn't get a chance.
He was interrupted. Yes.
J. Maya stopped him from having a relationship with that sandwich, a lifelong relationship that he wouldn't have forgotten about. And now he won't forget about it, but it's in a negative light. So. Yeah. Also, Kellie got in the way. She's coming later. So anyways, tell me what you think about Austin.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, he has a decent amount of power in the game right now. I think he's in a pretty decent spot. He is obviously he was targeting Jay and now Kellie. Yeah. So, we'll see how that goes.
Watch out, Kellie.
Yes. Yeah. Although also watch out Austin, because I think, she's targeting him as well for the same reason.
As she should.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I think he's in a pretty decent position. He seems to have some decent friendships and alliances. But yeah, and I thought it was cool that, he was able to not vote like he had. I mean, it was it was pretty obvious it was like a landslide vote against Kaleb, but it was good that he knew where the votes were going and felt confident in not voting, and now he has an idol.
So Kaleb set the record for negated votes last night in one tribal with that move.
Wow.
The record
cool.
prior to him was Wentworth in season 31, and Karishma tied her, I believe, in season 39. We don't talk about the season as much, but anyways, so the record was 9. He broke it with 11. So if Austin had actually voted last night, it would have been 12. And I really don't think there could ever be more than 12. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think he was one vote away from basically making the record and never having it pass. But so there is technically a chance somebody could play an idol, I would assume, or a shot in the dark, though more likely an idol, to stop 12 votes at the merge. But I think we're here to talk about Austin. We'll talk about Austin. I have some stuff to say about Kaleb, but let's stick on Austin. Yeah. Austin has no votes against him. Doesn't even seem like he's on. I mean, to be fair, he had immunity, so why would anybody talk about him voting him off? But he seemed to be in a good position. I mean, he's in power. He's in the power alliance from what we've seen, which is Dee, Julie, Austin, and Drew, or Drew and Bastille. So it could be 5 people depending on the day.
Oh, yes, yeah.
So Austin is in a great position. I have him at number 4. Where do you have him?
I also have him at number 4.
Oh, there's going to be a couple times tonight we're going to be on the same page. I've seen your rankings.
Yes.
Obviously, you send them to me before. Spoilers, but there's a couple times we're going to have the exact same. But most, I would say only like 2 or 3 times.
Okay.
Which is more so than more than usual. We'll see if Bruce is at the bottom of your rankings, which will deeply offend me.
I might need to work on that. I might need to change these because I really like rocking the boat. So if we agree too much, I might need to...
I'm very high on Austin. My issue with Austin at the moment is he doesn't have a lot of personal content. Feels like all the... I mean, and to be fair, he wasn't there for the stick bug dance. Drew was distracted. They were too busy talking strategy to be there for the stick bug dance. That stick bug was dancing, by the way.
That was iconic.
Yes.
That was so funny. And I've said it every time I think that we've podcasted. This is why I love the 90-minute episodes.
That probably wouldn't have been in there if it was shorter.
Probably not.
And it was doing strategy.
Such a great moment.
Yeah. Oh, and as you know, because you work in the film industry, I'm sure you're still aware the actor strike is still happening. It's November 2nd. You know, when is it going to end? Hopefully next year.
Yeah.
Hopefully December. Let's say that, because the longer the better. Survivor 46, I want it to be 90 minutes. It's going to be hard to go back to 60 minutes. I just think in a general sense.
Yeah.
Jeff said they're ready to shoot 90 or to make the season 90 if need be, if CBS asks. So I just want 46 to be 90 minutes. However, that needs to happen
I fully
without
agree.
selling our souls to the devil, which
absolutely
short of that, basically. All right. Anyways, that's enough for Austin, because clearly he cares about, that all that ties to Austin, obviously. All right. Our next player is Bruce, who is not at the bottom of anyone's list, I hope, because that would be a travesty. Bruce, I will say, last night turned a little villain. He had 10 confessionals, which worries me, because that was more than he had the entire season up to that point. He has 19 total. And I'm like, for a second there, before he won immunity, I was like, oh no, is Bruce going tonight? Crap.
Oh, yeah. Makes sense.
Crap. I thought Bruce, he did find the idol at the beginning of the episode. But I thought Bruce might be going.
That's true, because also when he was initially targeting Kaleb, I kind of had a similar thought where it's like, oh, if he and Kaleb go at it, like Bruce is going to lose. But then obviously my held the turntables and, everyone was going after Kaleb. So,
Bruce has now been on 4 tribes. He's been on 2 seasons, still has not been eligible to be voted off at any tribal council. I don't know if that's a record, but it feels like one.
Yeah.
That
is impressive.
He has the idol. It's good till 5. And people were people were like, what's up with that? How come his idol, he didn't have to do anything crazy? I think it's probably because it was planted a couple of days. When I assume after Sabaya got voted off. Yeah. So somebody already did something. Nobody ever found the Bello idol.
Yeah.
The Beware advantage on Bello. Nobody ever found it. Which is wild. I wonder what it was.
Yeah.
I wonder what crazy thing they had to do. I don't know.
We'll never find out.
For Bruce, though,
they use it.
I want to point out that when Bruce was looking for the idol, he was with his entire tribe and Katurah was off doing her own thing. And people did not really care that Katurah was off doing her own thing. They weren't like, as soon as Bruce found the idol, gotta go tell Katurah. So it's almost like Bruce and Katurah are both on the outs in their own way. But also, not really, because Bruce pushed for Kaleb last night, and guess who everyone voted for? It's weird how the show
Kaleb,
wants you to root against Bruce, but also
because it's like everything, like there was so much like Bruce hate towards the beginning of the season. I mean, a little bit from Emily, but especially obviously from Katurah.
Did you know she hates Bruce?
We haven't. I was wondering about that. I kind of had an inkling. But yeah, you're totally right. I mean, like, I feel like now that we actually got to see Bruce play, because we still, like, tonight was the first time that we actually got to see him play. And
Tribal reveals a lot.
It does. And like, he had way more sway than I thought he was going to. But even, when I think it was 4 of them were looking for an idol, and Katurah was, off on her own, it wasn't only that they didn't invite her, like they were explicitly trying to exclude her. They were like, oh, let's go dig for this and like keep a lookout for when she comes back. And like, Jake's making up like, oh, I lost my ring and everything. Like they're specifically trying to keep her out of it.
And Jake's always been on Bruce's side though. So we knew Jake would back him up. But it was the other people who were like, are they on Bruce's side? Well, on paper they seem to be, but then in confessional, they're like, Bruce is annoying. I mean, Katurah straight up says Bruce is stupid, which I was shocked to hear that she would hate Bruce.
Yeah, but you're so right. That's exactly what it is, because the show, like up to this point, it feels like has wanted us to dislike Bruce. But then now it's like, I don't know. It's like, he is kind of liked, but yeah, you're right. I mean, it's still like, is he actually liked? But it seemed that tonight that's what the show wanted us to think.
It's hard. It's hard because he hasn't been eligible to be voted off. So if he was eligible tonight, I think, and he didn't receive a single vote and it was Kaleb, I'd have been like, okay, Bruce is more power than the show wants us to think. But in this case, like, well, Bruce had immunity, so he couldn't really do anything if they wanted to. But he did get 10 confessionals, which is more than he had the entire season up to that point. And it made me a little bit worried. I'm lower on Bruce, I think, than I've ever been. I have him at number 10, even though I personally like Bruce. Clearly the show does not want us to root for him to succeed in the long run. So I have to put him low. He's at number 10. Where's he for you?
Yeah. Very similar. He's at number 9 for me, which is
he's
higher
not number
than
12?
he has been. He's not number 12 anymore.
Wow. You're higher on him than I am.
Yeah. That's crazy.
How did he get above so many people? What caused you to move him up? He had been at the bottom of the rankings for so long. What changed?
I think because he was, I think, the first person in this episode to throw Kaleb's name out there. And we saw so much of him talking to people and saying, Kaleb is a threat, Kaleb is a threat. And then lo and behold, Kaleb gets all the votes. Now, obviously, it's not all golden for him because, like, there was, no one was talking to him for a long time. You know what, though? But
Emily came up and talked to him, and he, like, but that's not who he wanted to talk to. He wanted to talk to Kaleb, is what it seemed like.
Yeah.
So, like, he wanted the prettiest girl in the room to come kiss him, and everyone else is trying to kiss him, and he's like, no, I want the prettiest girl. I mean, basically.
Yeah, no, you're right. But it was also interesting, like, once he finally did get to talk to Kaleb, it didn't seem like a good conversation for Bruce. Like, it didn't help his game. It probably hurt him more
Bruce,
than anything
else. Bruce, like, we'll talk to the other side. Like, this ain't Boston Rob Redemption Island, Bruce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in terms of, like, do I think that Bruce can win at this point? I don't know. I seriously doubt it. I mean, he's still at number 9 for me, but he does seem to be more strategic than he appeared to be in previous episodes. So I guess that's what bumped him up for me.
I like Bruce on a personal level, but man, does the show not want me to... The show does not want me to think that he should succeed. I've literally had people comment about how they want anyone but Bruce to win. I'm like, wow.
Oh.
I know.
Wow.
People have even emailed me this. I can't name names, but they know who they are. I'm serious. If you're emailing me and that's your whole like opinion, I'm like, wow, this is like, mind you, I don't make the show, so I don't have control over this. So their
someone sat
so
down and like typed out an email to you.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's impressive.
People do that sometimes, but usually it's to like ask questions, not to just give me their opinion that that they don't like Bruce and they want him to go.
That's so funny.
So yeah. Anyways, that's fun. Bruce for me, number 10. For you, number 9. But Rebekah, it's time for me to go back in time to when Mary and I yesterday recorded a pre-recorded segment of us doing board game time. We were sent Nautilus Island by Funny Fox and Hatchet Board Games. Mary, can you tell everyone about this game?
Yes, I can. So you are stranded on an island with the other players and you find wreckage of a submarine. This is a card set collection game. Basically, you gain points by scouring the submarine for supplies and then using those supplies to gain more points. Mm-hmm. One thing I liked about this was that you could choose when to close a set. So it was kind of a risk. You got to know strategically when was a good time to close a set. I don't know if you played many set collection games, but that isn't always an option. So I like that this was a different twist to this one.
We've reviewed a set collection game or two in the past, and it's a genre that we didn't know about before, but when we discovered it, we're like, oh, I kind of like this. I like the speed of it because you and I are so used to playing long games that playing a shorter game was like, oh, well, what a refreshing change of pace. The fact the game didn't take an hour and a half. It was just 15, 20 minutes. It's 2 to 4 players, and I have a link in the description. Please check it out. We thank you again, Hatchet Board Games, for sending it our way. Yeah. All right. Back to the winner rankings with me in the future and Rebekah. Okay. Thank you, Wesley, from the past. I greatly appreciate it. All right. Our next player is D. Rebekah, I have a new theory. The math theory I'm still mostly on board with.
Okay.
I'm a little bit worried.
I'd love to hear this theory.
When we get to Emily, we'll talk about the math theory. I'm still on board with the math theory. I can't ignore it. Emily's still there. I mean, Bruce is still there, but let's be real. Emily's still there. So I can't ignore it completely, but I have another theory because someone commented last week, and then I went back and rewatched the first 5 episodes, and then I thought back to the past 4 seasons, and I'm like, you know what? They make a good point. It's called, for D, let's give the stats real quick. She has 19 confessionals, 2 last night. She has 1 vote against her. She doesn't have any advantages. Anyways, so D... And she's in the Power Alliance, in my opinion. She's with Austin, Drew, and Julie.
Arguably the leader of the Power Alliance.
Arguably her... Well, yeah, the way they present it, it's more like she's the leader, even though I think if I were to be there without someone editing a show for me, I would view probably her and Julie as co-leaders or, like Austin and Drew are a pair and her and Julie are a pair.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I do think both Austin and Drew think that they're the leaders. But
yes.
I think it's actually D. But
based on the way the show is showing it to us, I think D as well.
Yes.
Which is why she's actually pretty high up. But also, there's the new theory. It's called the sob story theory.
Oh.
Because the winners of the past 4 seasons have all gotten sob stories. But to be fair, everyone in 41 and 42 got a sob story.
Yes.
When Xander's sob story is about how he hits puberty and he got less fat, I mean, everyone's getting a sob story. That's
yes.
So, but that's 41, 42, 43 and 44. 43, I feel like most people got one, but they kind of front loaded them. But then Gabler got one out of nowhere in the middle of the season, or felt like out of the middle of nowhere when he won an immunity challenge. It's like, okay, why are we getting this like forced backstory of, his love for veterans and stuff? Well, as it turned out, that's very important considering where the money went to. And then Jam Jam got one as well. And in 44, I don't think there were that many. If there were that, everyone did not get one in 44. Sob stories. Well, here we are, and D and Jake got one, and no one else.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if another person gets one, I will strongly consider them. And I'm talking about sob stories that weren't cut from the show. I'm talking about sob stories that are in the show. If people are still on the show, I don't care about if they're gone or if it was in a secret scene. I'm talking about people on the show. Actually, I do care if it's a secret scene because it makes me move them down, which we saw with J Maya. J Maya had one, and then this week, last week, Rebekah, they did one for Sifu. They put it in a secret scene, which tells me, I mean, we already knew, but
now
we really
surprising.
know. Yeah, now we really know. So D and Jake have a sob story, and it's like, I gotta consider this. That's a good point. If every winner in the new era has had one, and D, as we've seen, is the leader of a power alliance that everybody doesn't really realize is the power alliance yet, and she has a sob story. It's like, well, I gotta consider her higher than I was almost had her below Austin, but I was like, no, I feel like she's above Austin because of the way the show's telling us how the power is. So D for me is number 3.
Oh, look at that.
Yep.
We agreed again.
I told you this
number
a couple
3
times.
for me.
Couple times we
there
agreed.
You go.
Yeah. D's number 3, but why is she number 3 for you?
Yeah, I mean, besides like some of the stuff we've talked about, she's, in my opinion, kind of the leader of this, power alliance. But also it just seems like we are hearing from her at very key moments. She was like one of the main people that narrated when everyone arrived on the same beach, and she was talking about, you know, who she was excited to see. It was all strategy about, you know, who is she going to team up with, and, you know, how is this going to help her alliance. She was trying to vote out J Maya for a while, and that ended up happening last night.
J Maya jumped on the grenade for D, so Sifu still doesn't know D voted for him.
Yeah. And Julie knows that D is the one who voted for him, but she's totally thrown Jay under the bus.
But Julie's keeping the secret, which is good because they were at that
very
sanctuary,
loyal.
and Sifu's like, I want J Maya out, and people are like, J Maya. And Julie's like, it's because she voted for Sifu. And Julie's like, but nobody knows it was really D, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. Julie's like one confession. Or she got 3 confessions last night, but I don't remember them. I remember that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think D also, I feel like from what we've been seeing, she has a very good balance that you don't see a lot between, I feel like she has a lot of personality, and like I kind of know who she is, and like I know her strategy and all of that, but she's not like, she's very good at keeping herself under control when she needs to. Yeah. Like when her name got thrown out at Tribal last night, she handled it really well. Like she stayed very calm, but she also was able to like express emotion, but not in a way that was like off-putting or drawing, like putting a target on her back. So, I think she's a really, really solid player, and I think she's kind of flying under the radar right now, which is honestly kind of a good thing at this point in the game. So that's why I have her at number 3. So,
you don't want to be a big target in episode 6. Look at Kaleb, you know. How is he going to make it the rest of the season with that kind of target on his back? So D number 3 for both of us. Also, D had that silly big toe scene, and I can't name anyone else who's had such a silly scene focus on them in that way. Like Brando had one, but Brando's not here. I mean, like people still in the game. Like, has Julie had one? No. Has Sifu had silly scenes? Yes, but we're not considering Sifu as a real. Like Sifu does not have any sort of through line. Like how is Sifu winning?
No.
Nothing presents Sifu as a winner.
His is all goofy stories.
Has Austin had a silly story? No. Has Drew had a silly story? No. I mean, Drew's a little bit silly, but he doesn't have a silly story. Emily, you could argue. I don't know if she has a silly story, but she has a lot of moments. Kendra
the aliens
is
thing.
Silly.
Yes.
Kendra is silly. So I can't. So Kendra has the whole thing where she's like a Libra and cats and all that. Bruce doesn't have any silly stories. Jake, his Nana story that they started the season with.
Yep.
I mean, like the big toe lines up with almost like the Brando wearing the tube top scene, but Brando's not here.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
also,
what I mean.
just have to throw this out there. I saw on Instagram that someone dressed up as Dee's toe for Halloween.
What? Are you sure it wasn't just D?
No, I think it was someone else. She posted it on her story, but it was like a fan or somebody had dressed up as just like basically a giant foot.
Yeah.
And their head was her toe. And it was pretty incredible.
I saw something about it too, but I thought it was D dressing up as a foot. I didn't realize it was somebody else. Okay. Well, I am very high on D. We'll see how that pans out. If the Matt chat wasn't here, she'd probably be number 2. But I can't ignore the Matt chat and Emily. So, all right. Our next player is Drew. He has 2 votes against him. He has safety without power. He's also aligned with Austin, who's loaded. He's in the Power Alliance. Drew has 27 confessionals, which I believe right now is the 3rd most of the season. That looks right. Confessionals are up in the top right-hand corner if you're on YouTube with us, as you probably have noticed already. He has the 3rd most of the season so far. It seems like almost like he's the narrator in a lot. Like whenever they need somebody to narrate something, they go to Drew.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is a half of his confessionals, just explaining what's going on. Because he does a good job at it.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
What do you think about Drew?
Yeah, I think Drew's interesting because, like you said, he's in a very like seemingly powerful position. He's in a really good alliance. He has a decent amount of power. But I'm honestly just like not that high on him because I think for 2 reasons. Number one, socially, I think he does seem like one of the weaker players, which is just like, I mean, no shade. He's just self-admitted nerd and, rather introverted. And, he kind of talked about just like how when everyone was on the beach together and everyone else is like so extroverted. And he's like, I feel like the nerd that got invited to the frat party. So, I mean, at least he's self-aware. Like that is a good thing for sure. But yeah, I think he's going to have a hard time connecting with people outside of his alliance in like a meaningful way. And also I think he's like, I don't know if he's on the bottom of his alliance, but he's certainly not at the top. And he did have a quote in this episode where he was like, I like to be the leader. I think that was when they were all hitting the beach. And I just don't see him as a leader. No. I don't think he's in a leadership position. And if he thinks he is, then at least from what we've seen on the show, I don't think he actually is.
And he's the youngest one of this alliance by like 4 years too. So
yeah,
it kind of makes sense that he wants to be the leader. Like that time of your life when you're 22 and you're like, okay, time for me to take over the world. And also like everyone else, like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Drew.
and even like, because even thinking back to like the whole Brando thing, like he had an opportunity to connect with someone who like had a lot of similar interests with him, and
he flipped on the bird.
Was not interested in that.
He just flipped on the bird.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't know. I mean, I know he's in a really powerful position right now, but he is at number 8 for me because in the long run, I just don't see him. Like he might make it to the end, but I don't see him winning.
Drew is the first one of these 4 to be picked off, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like I could see why Austin would be targeted if everybody realizes what he has on him and how good he is in challenges.
Yep.
I mean, next week we have I looked at the Next Summon Survivor again. It looks like they're doing the stupid thing they've been doing for the past 4 seasons, which is why I was shocked to see everyone was shocked when Jeff said we're doing this. Like, am I going crazy? Haven't they not done this for the past 4 seasons, or did they skip a season I forgot about? Anyways, where they're doing, everyone splits up into 2 groups. 2 groups are going to tribal separately, and one person from each group has immunity. Is it dumb? Yes. Should they be doing it? No. Are they doing it? Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, I mean, they did merge with 13 people. So.
It's never been fun when they do this, though. I've never once thought, oh, wow, I'm glad they did split them all up into half, because it just delays the real merge again. The real merge is truly going to be episode 8 now. And it's like, all right, why did we do the merge story at 13 then? Why didn't we do the merge story at 12?
It would be better if they just had 2 people get voted off.
That's what's happening next week. 2 people are getting voted off.
But not in separate groups.
Oh.
Like just have
back to back.
One group do 2 votes. Yeah.
Then they've done that before where they'll do their first vote and then they'll do a quick like question game to see who gets immunity and then they'll vote somebody else off.
Yeah.
And with 90 minutes, why not?
Sure.
Good. Why not? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the twist, but the twist, we'll see how the groups get split up again. Drew has been shown to not be great socially, as you mentioned, especially the Brando incident. Just like a few times, just like, man, that is horrible gameplay by Drew. We've never seen anything like that out of D, Austin, or Julie. So if somebody's first to go from these 4, I feel like it's Drew. So Drew for me, number 9.
Oh.
You have him where again?
Yeah, number 8. So very similar.
We're pretty close. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't see it. I just don't see it. If Drew wins, he's got to turn it around. And it seems like when he gets the first confessional of the season, he's like, I'm the smartest person to ever play Survivor. And that's not bragging. It's factual. And it's like, all right. It's like, I went back and rewatched the first 5 episodes. I'm like, I think they're just setting up the fact that Drew thinks he's the smartest. And that's why he doesn't think he needs people like Brando. And sure, he got his way that time, but that might be his downfall later on. Is he doesn't think he needs anyone else.
It's not even like we've gotten to see any character growth from him. Because like someone like Emily, who we'll get to, but she's had a significant character arc this season, whereas Drew hasn't. He just kind of made that comment and then we've seen his gameplay, is
lined up with that comment. Even if he was being factual, maybe he had the highest IQ, on their test that they take. Maybe he really does. Yeah. He didn't say that, but maybe he does. But that's how they set up his story. So here we are. Okay, Drew, I mean, I have nothing against any of the people we've talked about and that we're going to talk about. It's just I'm not high on Drew winning. So, all right, our next player is hopefully the future winner of Survivor 45. But I'm getting a little buyer's remorse, maybe. I don't know if that's the right word, but she has Emily has 36 confessionals, 4 last night. And the only reason I say that is because I feel like Emily, it's like in retrospect, especially when I went back and rewatched them, like maybe Emily's getting the Jesse edit as the most recent person I can think of, or the Carson edit where it's like or Carolyn even. I don't think Emily goes to Final Tribal and loses though. I feel like it's more Carson or Jesse. It's like, dang, if only they made Final Tribal, but they couldn't make Fire, or they got voted off in 5th. Like, that's how I feel about Emily right now. I'm like, dang it, she's going to get 5th place and get voted off, or she's going to lose in Fire, something like that. And so, like, I really liked Emily. If only Emily had won, you know, top tier winner with her story. But if she wins, I'm not like, I just where I'm suspecting where we are right now. I kind of can see how that could happen. But if Kaleb had gone last night, that might have been the best thing for her.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Because she has 1 vote against her, I forgot to mention so far. But yeah, it doesn't seem like she's being targeted. She's in a much better position than Kaleb is. It's funny how she probably needs to talk to Kaleb and tell him how to lower his threat level. Oh, how the turntables have turned tables. What do you think about Emily? Tell me what you think.
Yeah. So she, it's interesting that you bring that up, that you were, thinking about this, because I was having very similar thoughts this week. Just, I haven't gone back and rewatched anything, but just kind of thinking through what we've seen from her so far. And yeah, kind of similar thoughts of just like, it's been so heavily focused on Emily. I feel like she is more of a candidate for like a fan favorite.
She's overexposed.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we're seeing her too much, because like what I'm starting to think about is like people like Dee and even Kellie, who we'll get to in a little bit, who are more under the radar now, but are still like playing really solid games. I almost see that as more of like the pacing that we've seen in the past for like winner edits. So because we focus so much on Emily, even though she's playing a great game and she's very entertaining to watch, and I like her a lot, I am kind of starting to doubt whether she has the potential to actually win at this point.
If Emily reaches Final Tribal, I think she has a pretty good shot, which I think you're about to say. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was going to say. I think if she gets to the end, she wins, but can she get to the end, Can she make Fire?
I'm still...
That's the question.
Can she make Fire? Exactly, yeah. So I'm still pretty high on her, but I did bump her down to number 2 this week.
You have almost sounds like you're apologizing. I bumped her down to number 2. I'm so sorry, everybody.
I know. It was like, it was painful to do because I want her to win. Yeah. Like, I really do like her a lot. I thought her little reconciliation. Yeah, that's true. We need an Emily sob story.
I need it now.
Yeah. We got her reconciliation with Bruce, which I thought was hilarious because they were both legit. Like, well, but
she
they
was
were
legitimately
both like,
apologizing though.
Yeah, but they had the interaction on the beach, and then they cut to confessionals of both of them being like, "Yeah, it's not over," And
was it like, really Emily saying that? I thought it was more Bruce.
It was mostly Bruce for sure, but
Bruce.
Yeah.
Emily's in no position right now to be blowing off potential alliances. Like, Emily needs to be accepting whoever comes her way. And we saw when Bruce was being jealous of Kaleb talking to other people, how she came over and tried talking to him again, and he was not interested in talking to Emily. He wanted to talk to Kaleb. And then we also got at Tribal Council when it was on the revote, and people were like, Jay, Maya, or Emily, and Emily talks to Bruce, and they made a point of it. He says Jay to her, and she says, okay, I trust you. I trust you.
Yeah.
And it's like, we could be seeing these two working together in the future, or Bruce is going to turn on Emily and he's going to pay the price because Emily's been set up to be our fan favorite, our fallen angel, perhaps.
According to his confessional, it seemed like he was going to throw her under the bus, but you are right that is interesting that they showed that moment in Tribal. So yeah, that'll be interesting. I had to point out, she also lost points in my book because she said tushies at Tribal.
Why is that?
And that is just like, it was just kind of, I don't know, it was just kind of an ick,
What offends you about tushies? We all have one.
I just don't like the term. Just say butt.
What term would you, butt? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Be an adult, say butt.
What a buttocks? Is buttocks okay?
It's a little formal, but I'll allow it.
Only in a British accent is buttocks okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Only time I ever do British accent, Mary tells me it's Cockney, and I say, is that attractive? And she instantly says no. There's no thought about it. She's like, no, Cockney accent's not attractive. Just stick with your regular voice. So
yeah, that's valid.
Yeah, we're not going to do that here on the podcast. But anyway, so Emily is number 1 for me. If there was no Matt Chat, she would still be top 3. However, I can ignore the Matt chat, and I know some people are new, so I'll briefly mention that from seasons 33 through 44, you're welcome for this spoiler. If Jeff talks to you on the mat and says, "Hey, what's your name?" you are one of the people eligible to win the whole game. Just in the way the story has been edited for what was that 11, 12 seasons. He didn't do it every season until we reached the new era. Then he did it every season. So this is in episode 1. He does that, and the only people he did it to this season, when I rewatched it, double check, Brandon, of course, that was a joke. He talks to Bruce. Emily butts in on Bruce, but then he does ask Emily a question. He doesn't say, "Hey, what's your name?" in the back or anything, but he does ask her a question on the mat. And then Sifu, and Jeff talks to Sifu, but he doesn't ask Sifu a question. So I don't know if we're getting, I don't think Sifu's winning anyways, but I don't know if we're getting super technical about did he need to ask a question. But either way, Sifu nor Bruce, at the rate we're going, is winning. It's just Emily out of the mat chat. So it's almost like the showrunners, or not showrunners, the editors, whoever produces the show. It's like, I bet you if no one made a stink about it last year, because it wasn't just us. It wasn't just you and I. It wasn't just Mary and I.
Right.
It was other people on the Edgic Reddit and whatnot who were like, and on Twitter as well. I saw that. They're like, "Oh, the match chat. And they're like, people are like, I don't believe the match. I think Carolyn's going to win. So that was funny. Anyways. So I wonder if they saw the discourse and they decided, screw them. We're tricking them this year. Yeah. We'll see.
It was definitely like the most chaotic Matt chat we've seen in a while, mostly because of Emily.
Emily knew about the theory, even though she knew about theory, and she decided, can't ignore that.
I'm getting in on this.
Getting in on this
They're
action.
not going to be able to cut this out.
Can't cut me arguing Bruce on the mat out. Yeah.
Now I have to win, guys. I have to win.
I rewatching all those Lulu scenes. It was something else when I rewatched the episodes.
I bet.
It was, and especially in retrospect, knowing Sean was going to quit, and then watching the way he talked, and it's like, shut up, Sean. Because the way he would, like, Hannah's quitting everything, and like the way Sean talked, I'm like, yeah, but like 4 days, you're about to do the same thing. So, anyways, all right, moving on. Emily, number 1 for me, number 2 for you. Jake is next. Jake, buddy with Bruce. 14 confessionals, actually one of the lowest confessionals of the season, despite being. I mean, he's the second lowest. The only person, third lowest. The only people lower are Julie and Sifu. Jake is 14. He had 2 last night. He's never been skunked in any episode. Like Kendra, Sifu have both been skunked. Bruce has been skunked, like getting skunked meaning getting 0 in an episode. He's never had that. He's always been there. He's also never been to tribal before this episode, which is not helpful to your overall count. But anyways, Jake is 14. He also got a sob story, though I felt like his was more natural, in my personal opinion, than Dee's in terms of its inclusion. And his was like the Xander story of losing weight, except Jake was an adult and he had to work on it. It didn't just happen because he hit puberty, unlike Xander. So anyways, I love Xander's sob story. Jake, I'm actually pretty high on Jake. I have him at number 2. Sob story theory is real, but also Jake was the one who said that he was next on Survivor. He's like, the Bello Reba War is about to begin, which is only, by the way, only good news for Emily and Kaleb. We'll see how that really pans out with everyone being split up into 2 groups. But I feel like Jake, even then, he wasn't being targeted. Like Bruce is being targeted, Katurah is being targeted to an extent, and it feels like Jake. People are just like, yeah, Jake's here. We like Jake. Like Jake's not doing anything at the moment to have anybody say, I want to get Jake out.
Yeah.
Not even his own tribe. No one in his own tribe has said, I want Jake out. So.
Yeah, that's very valid. This is probably one that we disagree the most on.
Oh, where do you have him?
Because I have him at number 7.
That's offensive.
So significantly lower.
Not as offensive as Bruce being at the bottom those past few weeks, though.
Well,
which almost felt purposeful.
Yeah.
I
don't know, man. It's a little personal. I'm gonna be honest.
Get over it.
No, but with Jake, I'm shocked that he has more confessionals than Julie, because I feel like from a strategy perspective, we've heard so much more from Julie than we have from Jake.
Well, confessionals aren't everything either. Julie's had screen time where she's been talking and she didn't have to talk to the camera. She was just in a conversation. Yeah. Yes,
very valid. And I do think we have gotten a lot more personal content from Jake than we have from other people.
Yes.
So that is a valid point as
Can't
well.
Can't forget Nana.
Yeah. Very iconic. But I don't know. I guess I just don't see it as like a winner's edit, because we just haven't seen like a ton from him.
He hasn't gone to tribal yet, where he's been eligible, like Bruce.
Yeah.
Both him and Bruce have not been eligible.
Yes, that's very true. But also, like, I don't know. We haven't even. I guess I don't really know even like who he wants voted out. You know what I mean?
Anybody
like,
but him and Bruce.
Well, yeah, but like I don't know. I guess so that's like not him controlling the vote. I guess so. Like,
yeah, control's overrated.
I'm just wondering how much influence he actually has, or like is he actually in a good position, or is he just kind of a very medium threat at the moment in terms of like other people's games? You know, so he's just kind of like.
Let me tell
flying
you,
under the radar.
A 2-time winner who never had control of the game when they won. Sandra.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never had control of the game either time when she won. And funny enough, it didn't matter at the end. Nobody cared. They weren't like, Sandra, you didn't control the game. If only you were like Russell who did. I really like Russell. I really want Russell to win, Sandra.
Yeah. But also like we got, I don't know. Yeah.
I know
it's been a while since I've seen those seasons, but like there's so much more personality and stuff from her than we've gotten from Jake so far. I don't know. Like comparing Sandra to Jake is just like, I don't know.
Apples and oranges. I know.
It is. Yeah. It's a very difficult comparison to make.
I'm just saying control is not everything to win though.
Yes.
Gabler didn't have control.
Yeah, that's true.
He really didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, but I also don't know if Jake is a small enough threat to be able to coast to the end. You know what I'm saying? Like he's very like a medium threat from what I've seen so far. So like I think eventually he's going to be targeted.
I think here's the thing. Reba is strong. Like sure, Sifu's on the outs, but I feel like Sifu doesn't even know he's on the outs, which is good.
No, he does not.
Bello is fractured in the sense of Katurah and Bruce because Katurah hates Bruce. And I bet you didn't know that. Katurah hates
shocking information.
She hates him. And Bruce is out here playing like Boston Rob, Redemption Island, whatever. I think, isn't that what Kaleb said last night, or am I just inserting myself? Did somebody say that on the show that he's playing like Boston Rob, or was that me interpreting?
I don't remember that, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen.
I don't. Either somebody said it, I think Kaleb said it, or I thought of that. And it doesn't sound like an original thought. So I feel like somebody said it. I feel like that's not an original thought I had. So, all right. I'm high on Jake. I agree with you, though. Like, he is medium. And maybe he should be below D. Maybe next week I'll move him below D. We'll see how it goes next week. I just don't like that next week is the stupid 2-team thing again. From what it looks like.
Yeah.
I don't like that. But Jake, I don't know if Jake's going to be like a huge threat in challenges. And so his threat level may never rise high enough. But if these Reba 4 end up controlling the game like they're presenting they might, then he will have to go at some point. So we'll see. I think Jake's nice. I think people like Jake. Nobody's mentioned Jake as a threat. And he's not. Totally. He isn't a threat. I mean, he couldn't even find an idol on Bello, or on Lulu.
Yes.
So he's not even
to be fair, there were snakes, so.
Oh, yeah. He's like, no, really. I came to the Boston accent. He's like, no, really, come over here. There's a snake. So, Jake. I like Jake. All right, let's move on to Julie. Like Jake, she also has no votes against her, no advantages. Julie has 13 confessionals, which is the second least of all active players. I want to point out that she has the same number of confessionals as Brandon, and he was voted off in episode 2. Isn't that wild?
That is wild.
Isn't that? And she's been a tribal. So I actually don't feel great about Julie story-wise, even though on paper she has power and nobody's targeting her. Julie might be a Heidi where she goes to final 3 and gets skunked. Gets 0 votes.
Yep.
That's what I feel about Julie at the moment. I'm like, even if she reaches the end, I'm like, at the rate we're going, nothing's being presented that she's going to win.
Yeah.
So she needs to make some moves.
Because I think that even though we've heard, because, confessional count isn't everything. No. It's also about the content. And even though a lot of her confessionals have been about strategy or about like, talking through like what's going on in the game. Like they've been good confessionals, but I still feel like
Julie?
she is in Dee's shadow. Yeah. Like she even like at the merge feast when she was like, oh, like talking about J Maya, we kind of heard the merge feast through her eyes, but it was all about Jay and specifically about how D voted for Sifu and like no one knows that. And so it's I just feel like she's living in Dee's shadow. So kind of similar to, Drew or other people, like even though we've gotten a lot of good content from her and she seems like she's in a decent spot, I'm just feeling like she's not going to make it to the end.
So for you, Julie's number one then, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
yes.
I figured it out. I knew what you were really saying.
Yeah. No, she's actually number 10 for me.
Wow.
Which is, That's
harsh.
pretty low. Yeah. It is. Yeah, and it's, I don't know. Sounds a little low. I think mostly it's just because other people were higher.
I have her at number 7, only because she's in the Power Alliance and because I actually really think she could float. That's a terrible word, but float until the final 3 and then just get 0 votes. But if you're in the final 3, I have to rate you higher than other people who I don't think are even going to touch the final 3. Because if you're in the final 3, at least you have a chance. You know?
Yeah. At least you've
Gabler
played well enough to
proved it.
make it to the final 3. Yeah.
Gabler just showed us last year, like, hey, like, you know what? Yeah. It's not all about, you know.
Yeah.
It's just, does the jury like you? Maybe the jury secretly loves Julie. I don't know.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know. We don't know who's even on the jury yet.
I do think if she makes it to the end, Dee cannot be there for her to win. I think if Austin or Drew are there, she still has a shot because like she's had strategy and like made moves apart from the two of them, but she has not made moves apart from Dee that we've seen so far.
Julie's also going to run into, since she's 49 years old and she is a woman, she's going to run into the mama role dilemma where people view her as that. I think somebody's even called her Mama J at some point. Am I misremembering that? I don't think so. So that's always that's a perception dilemma that people who are in her archetype fall into, that they got to get out of to win the game, because I can't name any mamas who have won the game. I can name women who have won, but they were not the mama of the season. They were not Mama J, or, you know, unless you can. Yeah. And I'm forgetting. Like I can rattle off every winner right now, and I don't think any of them fall into the mom role.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Denise from Philippines was, I think, 45 when she won, but she was not a mother. Like that was not her role in the group. So yeah, that's always a dilemma. We get these people at the end who are viewed as like moms and they're just not respected. So you almost got to break that mold. Like how, and for people who say it's unfair, well, Tony came into Winners at War with a perception on him and he had to play a totally different game. So people perceived him differently so he could make it to the end and win again. So you got to break the perception of yourself. And I don't know. But even so, the story's not presenting her as the winner, but I could see her going to the end based on where she's at in the game and the fact that who's going to target Julie?
Yeah.
Bello, I guess, if they end up winning control, but it seems like Reba is going to win control in this war.
Yeah.
Even though they're ready to cut Sifu. they're going to cut Sifu, but I think they'll pull in Emily and Kaleb.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, Emily's not like super loyal to either side. She did align with Austin and Drew, though, I guess.
True. Yeah. But I do see Julie being targeted before Austin, maybe before Drew as well.
Really? Oh, okay.
I mean, it depends on
Drew
who's
and
there.
Austin?
But yeah, I don't know.
Why before Austin? I feel like Austin, just like look at Austin, look at him in challenges. Why?
Yeah.
I'm curious why you think that.
In terms of just like, I just think that she's a better social player. So I think that will be perceived as more of a threat. And I mean, I could be totally off base. I mean, if Austin comes in and starts killing it in challenges, like that's my worry change for things.
Austin. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I guess I just see also if Dee is the one calling the shots, who's playing the most similar game to her, it's Julie.
No, I agree with you on that. I think Dee beats Julie at the moment. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm saying I can't see Julie going before Austin and Drew.
Yeah.
Personally, I think Julie's sitting at the final 3. And if she's sitting there with Dee, you're right. At the moment, the way it's sort of presented, Dee's beating Julie. But we've talked enough about Julie. Let's talk about somebody who's very exciting, Kaleb.
Oh,
here's what I think about Kaleb before I give you all the stats on him. I think Kaleb could follow Emily to Reba. I think Emily goes to Reba based on what we saw earlier with her, Austin, and Drew. And then Caleb's just looking for anybody who won't vote him out.
Yes.
And so he goes and joins Reba, and Reba's ready to cut Sifu because with Emily and Kaleb, they have 6. That's my thought. So anyways, we'll see if that pans out. Kaleb has 12 votes against him this season. That's not the record by any means, but he is working on it. That's for sure. He's 12 votes against him. He has, where's his confessional count? He has 37. He actually passed Emily. He has the most of the season. He got 9. He got 9 last night, so he passed Emily. He's the most of the season. And of course, everybody knows that Kaleb is wonderful to be around. That's why they wanted him gone. So the threat level's higher than ever. Despite that, though, he did survive on the shot in the dark. And I have a question for you. Do you think the shot in the dark was rigged? Because some people were implying it was rigged online.
Oh, that's interesting. That's a good question. I don't know. It could have been, but I don't think it always has been. Because like the times that we've seen it played in the past, like it's been, I don't know, the opposite of what would have made good TV.
So Survivor in season 1 got in massive legal trouble for interfering in the game. You can look this up. This is not like some secret I know. So they got massive trouble in season 1 for interfering in the game and affected the result of some people being voted off. And ever since then, they have now been part. I mean, if they weren't a part of it already, that's why they got sued. They're a game show. They have to abide by game show rules, and they cannot rig the shot in the dark to help one player. Also, somebody went back and analyzed they went back and watched the episode and looked at the bag of the shot in the dark. And like people went up before Kaleb, including J Maya, who could have pulled a shot in the dark, knowing that she was possibly a target. And the bag didn't move. It was literally looks exactly the same in every shot. And then when Kaleb reaches in there, pulls this thing and leaves, it looks totally different. The next person goes up. So like the bag didn't move because Kaleb went up there. Like it was just, and then they went back to past episodes, Rebekah. They went deeper on this. This is on Reddit.
Wow.
And they
this is very thorough.
They were very thorough because the allegation of it being rigged is ridiculous. And I agree.
Yeah.
It's a game show and they can't do that. They'd be in massive trouble if even one person leaked that. That's massive.
Yeah.
So like, why even risk it for what? A good episode? One good episode? Anyways.
I mean, it was a pretty good tribal.
It was a great tribal. It's a top tribal, but is it worth, risking this show over it? So anyways, they went back to past episodes and saw that the bag actually really hasn't moved in like 2 episodes. It's just been sitting in the same position. Wow. It's been set up for episodes now. They just haven't touched it. Because why? Like why touch it? So if Kaleb reached and grabbed the very top one said safe. It said safe for like 2 or 3 episodes now at least. So rigged or I don't think it was rigged. I think it's ridiculous. So that's my personal opinion. Kaleb though, he is in a rough spot.
Yeah.
What do you think about Kaleb?
Yeah. He's been someone who I was really high on initially. But yeah, especially just in recent episodes, he's been, even before people could vote for him, people were saying, how much of a social threat he was. He had that opportunity to, visit one of the other tribes and like immediately everyone was like, this guy's trouble. We got to vote him out at our first opportunity. I know
he raided Reba for like half an hour and they're like, this guy's got to go.
Yeah.
He's too nice.
Yes. And, I think he kind of hit the nail on the head where he was talking about that, he's a salesman. And so he's used to like selling and, pitching himself. But people can sense desperation. And I think people kind of get that from him. As likable as he is, I think that people can sense that, I don't know, that undertone of, I guess, desperation or whatever. So, I mean, he's been very high for me this whole time, but he has a lot to come back from. It does help that Emily seems to be a very strong ally for him. And I think they're going to be in a pretty good spot depending on how the next episode goes. But, they are kind of in the middle. So I think he's going to make it for a little while, for at least a couple more episodes, but he's gonna have a struggle to get to the end for sure.
I mean, part of what happened last night though is that let's think about who was available to be voted off, right? It was J Maya, it was D, it was Jake, it was Emily, and was it also it wasn't Sifu. Who all was so it was J Maya, was it Kellie? These are not.
Kellie.
Outside of J Maya, who I feel like they had an irrational wanting to get rid of for whatever reason. Nobody else there was like a target. Like Jake's not a target. Kellie's not a target. Like what have these people done to be targets? Nothing. So when you have 5 people available and you have Mr. Everybody Loves Him nice guy there. And there's like nobody else. Like, who else we can target? J. Maya, I guess. Like, why? I don't even understand. But like Jake, no. What has Jake done? Kellie, no. Like, none of these people have been a tribal, so we don't even know if they're even a threat anyways.
Yep. Yeah, and I think Jay was also just like the easy vote. Like, Kaleb was the obvious vote, but like when you have a chaotic tribal, I think Jay was just the safe vote.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Emily was also available, as we learned, and she was talked about. But I think she was talked about the same way. It's almost like because everyone just saw them. Emily has survived 4 tribals, and we got people here who haven't even been to 1. And so, like, that affects, like, you just, I don't know. I just think there's experience differences here that you get really quickly through a couple tribals. So we'll see what happens next time. If next time, though, if there are people that they others want gone, Kaleb will be ignored. Frankly, I mean, like, oh, Katurah's like, oh, finally Bruce is available. Guess who's getting targeted? You know? If her and Bruce end up on the same team, that would be hilarious. Her and Bruce end up on the same team, and neither of them went in individual immunity. Guess who's targeted? They're not targeting Kaleb. They're targeting each other.
Yeah,
I assume.
For sure.
I assume.
Yeah.
So
I'd love to see that. That will be chaotic.
What will be helpful to Kaleb is that everybody's available to be voted off. Or he wins immunity. He could. Him, Austin, and Sifu have all been shown to be great in immunity challenges. So win immunity. It's not going to help his threat level.
No,
but he needs a break. He needs something like that to get the target off his back for a little bit.
Yeah,
get people at each other's throats. So
and I will say, like, I thought he handled himself well at tribal. Because I think he did he knew obviously what was going on, and I think he did a good job of the way that he handled throwing Jay's name out there, because like obviously when you say a name at tribal, like that's kind of chaotic, I guess.
I love that people are doing that tribal though. It was such a good tribal because of all the points of discussion. Yeah.
100%. Yes. And I also thought that like his whole interaction with Dee, because she was trying to press him to like stir up more trouble, but he was like, you know, I'm happy with what I said, and you know, he didn't let her, you know, make him dig a deeper hole for himself. So yeah, I thought he is a very aware player, and obviously like everyone knows that he's a social threat, but I don't know. Yeah, I think he could potentially, you know, if other people are able to be targeted for the next couple episodes, I think he could get himself into a better spot.
Was it Kaleb who fist bumped Dee, and she looked really mad when he fist bumped her?
Yes.
She was so upset.
Yes.
Kaleb was having a grand old time, and Dee's just like upset to no end.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was so funny if you go back and watch the reaction of who's excited, who, like, Drew was not excited when the safe came up, for example.
Right.
Katurah was excited. Bruce was like more in shock, but there's a few faces in there who are not excited. J. Maya, one of them, of course, when it said safe. Yeah. So it was very telling. Of course, Kaleb doesn't see that. He just the moment he's like you. He had the blood pumping, the adrenaline pumping. He's running
around.
Yeah.
He's
Sifu comes over and like hugs him, you know.
Yes.
Sifu's known Kaleb for like 2 days, and he's like, oh, yeah, man, that was amazing. I love you, you know. Like, so anyways, Sifu's great, by the way. It's a shame he's not going to win.
Yeah.
Like, Sifu, I like Sifu. What has Sifu done?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He seems like so much fun to hang out with in real life.
Yeah. Sifu's giving me Tony Vlachos energy. I said that last night with Mary.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Dude's just good. Anyways, we'll talk about Sifu later. Okay, for Kaleb, though, you have not given me your rankings. For me, he's number 6.
Oh. Yeah, he is number 5 for me. So very similar.
Okay. Well, all right. Middle of the pack. He moved down a bunch. He was much higher.
Yeah. Same. Yep.
He was much higher. I even actually moved him right before. I originally had him at number 6, and I scooched him up because I'm like, who I have at number 6. I'm like, I don't feel better about them than Kaleb. I had to move him down. So anyways, you'll see when we get there.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Oh, sorry. For Kaleb, for me, he's number 6. For you, he's number 5. Okay. No, I'm sorry.
Right.
Julie is right below him at number 7, and I feel better about him winning than Julie if he reaches the end. I guess that's what I was trying to say. I messed up. I was looking at your rankings. Okay, so
our next player, rankings, you mean?
You better watch your tone, young lady. How dare you?
Hey,
after all that Bruce slander you've given me.
Yeah, I'm here to cause chaos. What can I say?
All right. Well, bar of soap is what I was taught. That's what you do when you say disgusting things like that. Anyways, all right, just joking. I think.
Oh boy.
Okay, so next up is Katurah. Katurah has 18 confessionals. She has no votes against her. She doesn't have any advantages. She doesn't even know that Bruce, who she hates, by the way, doesn't have. She doesn't even know he has an idol. She is so in the dark, and it seemed like constantly. I mean, Kaleb was the only person she seemed to make a connection with that we saw, and even tonight,
because he has a connection with everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Where was his connection with Katurah tonight? There was no connection.
Yeah.
Who is Katurah connected to? Also, I need to mention this, Rebekah, but people get annoyed when I bring up stuff that's outside the game, but this is very much, I think we should take this in consideration. So go ahead and skip ahead, those who don't want an outside of the game. This is not a spoiler. This is an outside the game assumption I am making of something I saw that happened outside of the show. Okay, skip ahead 90 seconds, 2 minutes. All right, you've gotten your chance. Katurah, Rebekah, posted on TikTok, and then people posted to Reddit, which is where I saw it, a 6-minute video explaining why she is more than just a Bruce hater, basically.
Okay, sure.
Even the last night she said
still
Bruce
making
is
content
stupid.
About Bruce.
Yes.
Okay.
But I think as jokes aside, because I want to make people skip that 2 minutes, I want to get this out of the way.
Yes.
The point being is that if you're going to win the season, you don't spend 6 minutes of your life. You don't make a 6-minute video posted online to explain why you are more than just a Bruce hater. If you're going to win the season, you don't do that. Like you're not going to win. That's what that tells me. And so I was already low on Katurah, but that like almost solidified it that I shouldn't be high on her, because if you're doing that, you're not going to win. Winners don't do that. Winners don't post 6-minute videos explaining why they are more than being a hater of Bruce.
Honestly, winners don't post 6-minute videos on TikTok, period.
Oh no, she had to delete that.
6 minutes is too long for TikTok.
She had to delete that. She deleted it the next day.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming the show told her to take it down. No, I don't mean the length. I just mean the fact that she even did a video about it.
I'm taking issue with the platform that she chose to upload a 6-minute video to.
I'm just saying
an unacceptable length for TikTok.
I'm just saying that she spent all that time talking about it, and I'm sure people have downloaded it. It's never going to be fully deleted. But the point being is that forever. A winner would never make a video and post that. So
yeah, I agree. That makes sense.
I think we've talked for 2 minutes about it. I just don't want people who don't want to hear that be spoiled by it. But it's a consideration. It helped solidify what I already had her at. I mean, it helped keep her down. So for me, Katurah's number 11. Her whole story is just that she hates Bruce. Even if she wins the battle with Bruce, I feel like she has nothing else. That's her whole story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though Katurah as a person has more to her in real life, her story in this game is just Bruce. It's
just everything that we've seen from her is either about Bruce or it's her being left out of things. Like when everyone was looking for the idol and she was explicitly left out, they were keeping an eye out for her.
Nobody let her know that Bruce found it.
Yeah.
At least that I recall.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
She lied and said she was 29 earlier in the season, and that people know, Katurah, that you're 34, all right?
Oh my goodness.
I mean, Katurah's story is just like, it's just about Bruce, and even if she beats Bruce, like,
which for the record, I hope she does.
Hey.
Oh, sorry, too far?
The bar of soap. I'm good. I have to go get it now. You don't say things like that. Bruce needs to win.
He needs to win?
He needs to beat Katurah. That's what I'm saying. Also, you know what?
Katurah.
The bar of soap, every time I think about that, I just think about Christmas Story. And because it's getting cold outside. Christmas Story, the movie, is so good. But Mary doesn't like it. So I have to like force a watch of the movie if we watch it.
Yeah. I'm going to be super honest with you. I agree with Mary.
What?
I don't like that movie.
You don't like the bar of soap scene in that movie?
I'm so sorry.
Is that what it is?
I don't remember the bar of soap specifically, but I did watch that movie once when I was like 19, and I was like, I don't get why this is a classic. Like, it wasn't like that the movie itself was terrible. I was just like, I don't know why people hype this up so much.
It's just good.
Because I watched it once and I was like, I'm good. Like, I don't need to watch it again.
It's when they're on the side of the road and the kid says, "Oh, fudge," and then the narrator's like, "It wasn't. I didn't say fudge." Yeah. And that's when he got the bar of soap, because he didn't say "oh fudge." He said exactly. So that's so I can never whenever it gets cold outside, I start thinking about Christmas Story and I think about the saying "oh fudge," Because Mary, that's the worst thing you'll hear out of her mouth. She'll say fudge and A. And I'm like, whoa, Mary, that was a little aggressive. A little aggressive there, Mary.
Whoa.
Anyways, this is off topic, but Katurah hates Bruce. Last night, she called him stupid. She also only had one confessional last night. Was that the stupid confessional?
Yeah.
And did she say that in confessional, Bruce is stupid? Because that would be her only time she talked last night.
I think so. If I recall correctly,
That's all the time they gave her was just to say Bruce is stupid.
Yeah. It's all the time she needs.
It's all the time she needs. All right. Well, Katurah for me is number 11. Where is she for you?
Yeah, she is very similar for me. She's number 12. So.
And you want her to beat Bruce at number 12? Bruce for you is 9. She's 12.
Well, yes, I want her to beat Bruce.
You just don't think it's going to happen?
Do I think that the show is telling me that she's going to beat Bruce? I don't know. We'll find out.
I think the show's telling me that they both are going to lose. That's what the show is really saying.
But who's going to lose first? That's what we need to know.
That's what I need to know. Next week, it has to come to a head, right? They keep doing all these delays. Like they win every challenge. They win every immunity challenge. Then this one, she picks the right team and Bruce is on the right team. Funny that she picked Bruce's team, but obviously she had to pick that team. They were going to win.
Yeah.
They were stacked. They win immunity, so neither are eligible. Next week, if they're not on the same team, it's not going to happen next week. If they're on separate teams going to tribal, it's not happening next week. So we just keep delaying this rivalry. And it's annoying.
And it's been really interesting that, like, because I think it was, if I recall, I think it was set up in episode 1.
Yes.
If not, it was episode 2. But like, so we've talked about it in every episode, and you're right. Like, it's still like nothing has come of it yet, but we are talking about it in every episode.
Ellie and Gabler had the same thing, but it was resolved once the mergatory happened. Jam and Josh had the same thing, but it was resolved when the mergatory happened. So when it wasn't resolved tonight, I was a little upset. Last night, I was a little like, come on, man. Hopefully it'll pay off. When it happens, if Katurah gets voted off and then says how much she hates Bruce, I will die of laughter.
What if, hear me out.
Okay.
Next episode, they're on separate teams.
Oh, no.
They both get voted out.
Oh, that would suck. So here's what I'm confused about, Rebekah, is that last 4 seasons, there's only been 8 people on the jury because they don't want 9 on the jury because there's going to be a final 3 and they don't want a 3-3-3 split because what do you do to decide a winner? So they're going to have 8 people on the jury, but next week we are losing 2 people. But that, right now we have 12 people left. So is the first person who gets voted off not make the jury and then the second person voted? So like, isn't that
interesting?
Isn't that wild? I don't think they've done that before. Where it's like the night they do the stupid team thing.
Do you think that there's any possibility that they're going to do a final 2 instead of a final 3?
I hope not.
Yeah. I mean, that would be different.
If they do a final 2, because they have a 9-person. Well, in that case, they'd have a 10-person jury and they're back in the same spot.
Yeah, true.
If they do a final 2 instead. So I don't.
What if they do a final 4? I'm trying to make the math work.
Let's not ever do that. No, it's going to be a final. It's going to be a final 3, and there's probably going to be an 8-person jury because the show seems dead set on just doing the same stuff over and over. But here's the thing, and this is why last night's episode was so good, is because everyone knew all the crap that was coming, so they could take advantage of it. Like everybody knows how this is. None of this is new. This is all old. This is old news. We're in 5 seasons of the same thing. They know exactly what's coming. They know this. Apparently, even though they look shocked about the team thing next week, maybe there's something else to it. But I don't know. So
the only thing I could see, just like an outside circumstance that might affect that, would be if someone got like medevaced or something.
Oh. Well, hopefully.
That's the only thing I can think of.
Oh gosh, what do you mean? Like somebody's medevaced and then what? And then the jury,
and then wasn't able to be on the jury. No, but yeah.
You're saying it's a 9-person jury and then somebody gets medically evacuated, so it ends up being 8?
Yeah, because I guess either way they would have to plan for that.
They're like, guess what, guys?
We're gonna hit Bruce on the head again.
It's the Bruce.
Too dark.
It's the challenge. They like literally go back to the same beach and everything, and they're like, all right, we're gonna do the opening challenge from 44. Bruce has PTSD, breaks down crying.
We've actually shortened the entrance by 6 inches, so it's even lower.
My head hurts just thinking about it. Okay, that's enough for Katurah.
That got really dark. Sorry.
Yeah, you got. Okay, I like how we're talking about Bruce re-injuring his head is hilarious, but I talk about actor striking. You're like, no, you've crossed the line, Wesley. The line was crossed about something silly. This is serious.
I'll go wash my mouth out with soap now.
Yeah, Christmas story yourself. All right, our next player is Kellie. Kellie has 19 confessionals. She has the advantage amulet. No votes against her because, frankly, she hasn't been eligible for any votes this whole game. And Kellie feels like she's secretly important, but hasn't actually had to make any big moves yet. I mean, last night she was eligible to be voted off, and she wasn't. Oh no, wait, did she? Was she available last night?
She was, yeah. And I don't think anyone ever brought her name up that we saw.
So I say she wasn't eligible, but yeah, she was. She was not on the winning team. The only two women on the winning team were Julie and Kendra, and then yeah, that's right, because Katurah got to choose. So yeah, no, Kellie was not one of the women who won. She was on the losing side. So she was eligible and nobody brought up her name at all. Kellie, they're like, yeah, Kellie's fine. That's fine. Yeah. Kellie also didn't lie about her age. It's very important. No, it's not important at all. I like Kellie. I think that they secretly want us to be aware of her, but also they're not making it obvious. Like, I feel like Dee's a little more obvious. Kellie's like, what's Kellie up to? What's Kellie thinking? But they do it at inconsequential times. Like, why did it ever matter that she was in the middle at Bella with Brando? It never came up. It's only because they wanted you to be aware that Kellie's here and she's thinking about stuff. Yeah. Otherwise, why did they even spend screen time going into that? Brando's not even on the jury. It's not even like Brando could vote for her at the end, you know? So
what if that's the twist? Everyone's on the jury this season.
Oh, like an Edge of Extinction deal? That would be dumb. Yeah, Hannah and Sean already quit, so they can't be on the jury.
Oh, true.
Yeah, Sean had to rush back home to get to his family. He had to. And Hannah had to rush back home to get back to her pack of vapes. So everyone had to rush home for something. Brandon can't rush home. He would just trip on the rocks. Is that too far? I like Brandon, actually. I rewatched the episodes. And knowing how it's going to go, I like Brandon's not bad. He's just terribly. He's terrible physically. And it was hilarious when Hannah's like, I want to quit. And he's like, you can't. And she's like, do I have to stay? And he's like, yes. And then they cut to a confessional of him. He's like, I'm going to cry. And it's like, what are they? They're like just dunking on Brandon. Anyways, we're here to talk about Kellie. Kellie, I like Kellie. I'm high on Kellie. Kellie for me is number 5. What do you think about Kellie?
Yeah. I'm also super high on Kellie. This might be a controversial ranking. I'm going to be honest. But I have her at number 1 right now.
That's a little controversial, but it's not outside of the realm of possibility.
Yeah. So I was really torn between her and Emily as my number 1 and number 2. So honestly, like, I'd be fine with her in either position.
Yeah, because you put Emily at number 2.
I did, yeah. But Emily has been at my number 1 for a while now. So I bumped her down to 2 this week, and Kellie's at number 1. But yeah, I think kind of like you were saying, like, we've heard so much from Kellie this whole time.
So little.
And yet she also seems to be making connections in a similar way to Kaleb, but she's not doing it in the way that he is, where he's being seen by everyone and everyone's like, oh, he's such a big social threat. No one's saying that about Kellie, but she has a lot of friendships with people and a lot of connections, and we're constantly hearing her talk about strategy. And this episode, she was like surprisingly quiet, but I kind of view that as a good thing, because in the midst of all the post-merge chaos, no one's targeting her. Yeah. You know? And I think that just speaks to her alliances and the position that she's in.
And she's willing to work with Bruce despite him being a little annoying. And I mean, Katurah, no one's spoken ill of Kellie at all.
Yes. Yeah.
At all.
And we're constantly getting, like, I don't know, good quotes from her, like in right before the challenge, where she said, you know, I've never been afraid of big dudes, you know, like, you know, I don't know. We're getting like personality from her as well, which I really appreciate.
She's never been afraid of big dudes. What was this?
That's what she said.
When she said this?
Jeff
Context
like asked her
means
about
everything here.
Sorry,
just a weird quote to throw out of context.
Yeah, no. Jeff asked her how she felt about the team divisions on the right before the Earn the Merge challenge.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And she was like, well, they got a lot of big dudes on their team, but I've never been afraid of big dudes.
Oh,
and everyone
laughed. I see.
So,
She has spunk.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody uses that word anymore. That feels like a word my grandparents would have used, but she's got it.
Yeah. It's a good word, though. It's a good word.
Yeah, she's full of spunk. All right. Kellie has 9 specials. For me, I said she's number 5. For you, she's number 1.
Number 1.
We'll see. Yeah. We'll see. Anyone else?
We'll see.
Comment if you got Kellie at number 1. I'm curious. I always like when people comment the rankings anyways, because I like seeing where everyone else is.
Yes.
All right. So our next player this is the last of the K women, because they're all the triple K still here. Katurah, Kellie, and Kendra, they're all still here. Kendra, she has 18 confessionals where she's been eligible. She has no votes against her. She has no advantages. She does know that Bruce has the idol. Kendra has kind of like a wild edit. She's very character focused. I don't think Kendra's winning. There's been nothing strategic from Kendra. She's like, I'm a Libra. I can't make decisions. And I hiss like a cat. And just stuff like that. It's really her focus of her edit. But then we go to the merge and all of a sudden there's like this little like 2-minute gap. I don't know if that's the right word. 2-minute like time slot where it's like, what is Kendra thinking? How, like all of a sudden, which Kendra's really important out of left field, in my opinion. And then she kind of goes away the rest of the episode. So she got like a lot of content and like this, it felt like it was out of nowhere, but I mean, I don't know. I wasn't like complaining about it.
Yeah. I mean, it was, I do wonder, because I was trying to remember, I can't remember if she was the first person to throw Kaleb's name out there, but she was definitely gunning for him really hard.
It felt like Bruce was first if she wasn't.
Yeah, I think Bruce may have been first, but
Bruce is on top of that.
Yeah. But she was like so adamant, and she was like talking to people about it. Like even when the vote was not headed that direction initially, she was very adamant about like, no, Kaleb is the bigger threat. We should not vote for Jay because she's not a big threat. Kaleb is the threat.
She's right.
And so it was very like observant, and just she's very, I don't know, it was just showing that she's aware of like,
she's not an idiot.
Who's playing a good game. Yeah. Exactly. So, and on top of that, I mean, we'll see, I guess, how strong, these original alliances hold out. But yeah, she has some decent relationships with people, and with the 3 women, like that's a decent alliance if they choose to stick together. So yeah, I mean, I have her at number 6 right now. So, definitely like in the middle for sure, like nothing. I don't know if I could see her winning necessarily at this point, because she is, we've gotten a lot of like goofy content from her and kind of a goofy edit, but I don't know, there's been some strategy and there's been some, good relationships and good gameplay. So
I apologize. Earlier I said she has not been a tribal, but she did because Brando went. She was at the tribal where Brando went.
Yeah.
She lost out to Emily. I will say that Kendra, I don't have like stats in terms of like size and whatnot, like how tall people are. But when I saw her on the blue team last night, I was like, oh, they're winning. I was like, Kendra she's always been on tribes that have seemingly dominated challenges, and it's never Kendra dragging anyone down. Kendra looks like a physical force when she was on that blue team. Along with Julie, by the way. I don't want to downplay Julie, who is smaller. You could see it in that shot of the team. And Julie, though, we have seen, like, when she was on Reba, it was like her and Sifu were carrying the tribe, the new Reba. So I want to point out that Kendra, I don't know if she's going to win challenges, but she's definitely a physical presence, because, man, was she almost, like, as tall as the men in her group. So can't count her out. But, Kendra feels like her story is very character-focused, so it was kind of weird that we got strategic talk last night, but we'll see. She might be a victim of this Bello-Reba war that they're setting up. I can see her being a victim of that.
I will say, if she makes it to the end, I think she's very likable. So I could see her doing really well if she can make it to the end,
But is she likable in the Carolyn sense where, like, we like you, we just don't think you're winner material?
True.
Yeah.
I mean, I still disagree with that, how that vote panned out.
Well,
but
you weren't on the jury.
That's true.
The jury doesn't see how you're talking to the camera. They only see you on the beach.
I need the jury to listen to me.
Yeah. The jury didn't see all of Carolyn's nut job, confessionals. They only got what she, on the beach, she was more introverted.
Yeah.
Even though she was a wild lady sometimes. So, all right. Kendra, for me, I said she is not, for you, she's number 6. For me, she's number 8. Okay. Our last player is Sifu. Sifu is not winning the game. Like, this is the person I am 100% certain. I mean, right? Katurah, I'm 99% Katurah is not winning. I'm 100% Sifu's not winning. Sifu has 10 confessionals. Sifu has 1 vote against him. Sifu has, I keep saying Sifu because that's how he refers to himself. Sifu has no advantages. And Sifu doesn't even know that Dee voted for him. Sifu's backstory was left in a secret scene last week. Sifu ain't winning the game. I like Sifu. I think he has Tony Vlachos energy. I think Sifu would be fun to be around. Sifu last night was hilarious with the stick bug. Sifu is not winning Survivor 45 though.
Yeah.
By personal opinion, like there's just absolutely nothing. In fact, somehow Jay Maya, I'm surprised Jay Maya went before him. It seemed like he was more socially on the outs than she was, but he was also safe last night. He was on the winning team, so he wasn't even eligible. What do you think about Sifu?
Yeah, very similar. I have him ranked at number 11. So, and honestly, him and Katurah are interchangeable as my bottom 2. I don't think either of them are winning. Yeah, same as you. Like, I think he seems very likable. I would love to, hang out with him in person. But yeah, we've gotten nothing from him in the edit that has indicated that he's gonna make it far in the game. He's, very entertaining. The dance and the song in this episode was super fun. But
on a tribe that,
I don't see
that
him
loves
winning.
that, he would be more beloved and he would be left out of this power alliance. But I think he's just there to have fun, but he's not there to win the game from what we've seen.
Yeah, because from what we've seen, he is not playing very hard and doesn't seem to be very aware of the gameplay that's happening around him. You mentioned that he doesn't know that Dee voted for him. Yeah. That's kind of,
even though he could have
read
the room on that one and figured it out, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yep.
Like just the way they talked about it and like critical thinking, like it was either Julie or Dee. It was not. Yeah. Anyways, it was.
Yep.
He could. Anyways, so beyond that, I just don't think Sifu's winning. I like Sifu. I mean, Sifu's great. I'm glad they cast him. I'm glad we had 90-minute episodes so he wasn't just completely skunked out of the show, like left out. Purpled, I guess the better word. But yeah, Sifu ain't winning. Sorry for those Sifu fans. He's on my picks team too, which is annoying. Because I know eventually he's gonna get voted off here, like probably sooner than later, because he's gonna be viewed as a physical threat too. That's the thing. Like
you can swap. I think one person, right?
I was gonna wait till I was worried because Bruce is also on my team. I was like, well, I don't want to swap and then Bruce gets voted off. So
that would be awkward.
No, I'll just wait till somebody gets voted off before I do a swap.
Yeah.
For those who are wondering, we're talking about the My Picks app on the Android store and the Google store. We're doing a Fantasy Survivor League on there. You'll see it's the Once Upon an Island League. If you join, it's no cost, nothing. If you want to join, you're late to the season, but like, what's the harm? You know what I mean? Sure. It's literally free. I moved up, Rebekah. I'm like ranked 200 something out of 1,200 people.
Oh,
where are you at? Where are you at?
That's awesome. I need to check
after
this last episode, but yeah, I think I was closer to like 500. So
yeah. Eat my dust, scrub. It helped. Bruce gave me a ton of points last night finding that idol. It really helped.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Do you have anything else?
So what you're saying is I should be Team Bruce, and then
I don't think it's going to last much longer.
I wouldn't be losing.
Kaleb had to. I don't know. I haven't looked at Mary's team because I think Mary has Kaleb. Kaleb had to have earned a ton of points last night negating all those.
True.
Votes, so.
Oh yeah, because you get points if they get voted for, right?
I think you get points if you negate the votes with an idol.
Oh yeah. That's what I meant. Yeah.
Anyways, let's move out of Sifu section before we go on nonsensical rants.
Yes.
Do you have anything else? Do you have anything else on Sifu?
No, I don't think so.
All right, for you, he's number 11. For me, he's number 12. That's it for our rankings. For those who tune in for that part, we're gonna move into the after show part of the podcast, which is mostly Taylor Swift focused, but it could be other nonsense, but it'll probably be Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Rebekah, though, actor strike wise, like you're more in the know than I am. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's not like affecting me personally a ton. But it's one of those things that's kind of a necessary evil, I think. It's really hard for a lot of people. I'm in like a bunch of film groups on social media, and I don't know, there are literally people who are like losing their homes. You know, they've been working in the industry for 20, 30 years and they've burned through their savings and they're now, you know, living in their car.
Because it's affecting crews.
Whatever.
It's not just the actors.
Yeah.
It's affecting everybody.
Yeah. Earlier this year, the writers went on strike. And so there were still some productions that were able to happen if they had already been written.
Yeah.
But when the actors went on strike,
that's it.
Everything shut down.
Yep. What are crews going to do? What are crews
exactly.
Gonna do?
Yep.
Late night TV shows, basically, or reality shows. That's it.
Yeah. And that is it. And it's interesting because it's also like affecting other industries too, because like people who aren't able to work in film right now are flooding other industries, like, you know, working in restaurants, service industry, like, you know, just other places as well. Trying to find like temporary jobs because like you want to be able to jump back into film when that becomes available.
And if you're living in LA, it ain't cheap.
No, it's not.
No.
Yeah. And honestly,
there.
even anywhere with, you know, inflation the way it is right now. So yeah, it's really hard for a lot of people, but it is like very necessary because the studios have been trying to get away with a lot of nonsense and just really taking advantage of people. So it's good that, you know, this is being dealt with and hopefully they're able to come to a reasonable agreement soon. But yeah, gotta stick it out until a reasonable agreement is offered.
As I said, on a personal level earlier, I am for the actors. I'm not for the corporations.
Yes.
On a joking level, I just hope they keep bickering.
Yeah.
But reality is, my only want is that Survivor 46 is 90 minutes. And the TV ratings have been good for it. I don't see what the harm is in letting them have an extra 30 minutes when they've already filmed it. Like it's not even more production costs. It's just more post-production costs. But that should be heavily offset by the advertising on TV.
Yeah.
And
I feel like Survivor can afford it.
Yeah. Like it's literally number one on Wednesday night by a mile right now. It's, by the way, it's during the week. It's 60 Minutes pulls in 9 million a week, by the way. Did you know that? 60 Minutes.
Woo.
I know.
Wow.
In this day and age,
crazy.
that's a ton.
That is crazy.
Survivor's number 3 overall throughout the week for total viewers. Can you guess number 2? It is a singing competition.
Oh, is it? I don't watch TV. Is it The Voice?
Yeah, it's The Voice. The Voice pulls in about 1 million more than Survivor. You can go on. Anybody's wondering about where I get this information. I'll tell you my website. I mean, it's all public information. It's tvseriesfinale.com. Every day they update all this stuff. So I go there and I check out because I'm always interested about, especially during this strike and like, okay, well, what's now getting people's attention now? There's no scripted television, or if it is, it's just reruns. Or heck, I will give credit to, I think it's CBS or maybe it was NBC. I forgot who did it. They were smart and they ordered like 13 episode seasons of stuff like to be filmed immediately before the writer strike happened. So like Quantum Leap's airing right now because they knocked out half a season's worth of stuff back in like March, April, May. When I think most productions usually are winding down for the season. They're like, nope, another half season right now. So we have
ramp it up.
Nope. Going right back. And I'm sure the people appreciated the extra money before the strikes happened too. So yeah. For those productions. So like, well, there are some scripted shows on TV, but it's few and far between because not everybody was ready. Clearly all the studios were not ready. I think CBS was the one who jumped on it, or somebody else. I forget who it was.
I'd also be really curious. I'd be really curious to see how, like, if numbers have increased for like TV over this year, because I also know a lot of people have been canceling their streaming subscriptions to try and
cost.
Decreasing cost, but also getting the studio's attention of like, hey, you're not going to keep making money off of us, you know, while we're trying to get this figured out.
I don't know. I feel like
I mean, there's a lot of debate over whether or not it's actually a big enough impact for it to make a difference in the negotiations. But but I'm curious if more people are watching TV or if maybe YouTube or
World
just other
Series
places.
And NFL still kills it. I mean, if you want to count sports, which I don't count, but if you count sports, like baseball during the playoffs, NFL always is killing it. They're always killing it.
Well, and you also have to consider the amount of Swifties that are watching football now.
Definitely. Oh, yeah.
Transitioning into our Swift
How many Chiefs games have you watched, Rebekah?
I'm going to be honest. I haven't watched any full games, but I do see clips on my TikTok feed.
What, dude? Have you seen anybody post a 6-minute video on TikTok? I don't want to name names.
No, and if they did, I simply would not watch it. I would scroll
even if
right
you
on
saw
past
it was,
that.
even if you saw it was a certain person that we named earlier.
Yeah, 100%.
You still would have skipped it? Wow.
Right past it. No one has time for that. 6 minutes? Are you kidding me?
On TikTok, yeah, where like the attention span's like 30 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's I agree with you. That's YouTube level. Like once you go past like 2 minutes, like, all right, this better be on YouTube.
Honestly, if it's past a minute, it has no business being on TikTok. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah.
TikTok is like new Vine. You know, Vine was like 6-second videos. TikTok, what's your max? What's your max limit? 30 seconds, a minute, I feel like, at most. And if you're doing a minute, it better be good.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm not even on TikTok, but just from all the reposts I've seen, I could tell that's the that's the vibe
for sure. Yeah.
So what's going on with? I mean, do you have anything else that's not Swifty before we get into Swifty? Because people hate when we talk Swifty. Some people do. Other people love it. Other people love it.
Yeah. I saw a couple people comment about it, and I did offer to refer to her exclusively as T-Swizzle.
T-Swizzle.
To see if that would help. Yeah. I don't know if that helps or makes it way worse, but I'm here to serve. No, so the main thing with Swift news this week was, I think I mentioned it on our podcast last week, but she re-released 1989. Her version came out.
Yep.
Yeah, and we got 5 Vault songs, which are incredible. And it's just a really great album. It's one of her most popular. A lot of people really love it.
Yeah.
And
does she have any other really popular albums she hasn't done her own version of yet? Like really popular? Because I know that was one of the most popular.
Yeah. The next one, well, I'm assuming the next one she's going to do is Reputation, which I think is also one of her more popular albums. Mm-hmm. I think she saved those for last kind of intentionally. But yeah, she has Reputation and then her debut album that's just self-titled, Taylor Swift.
Is she going to do the country songs again? Because if she does, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, she's already done Fearless, and that one is pretty country. She doesn't, I don't know, she doesn't quite do the even in the original Fearless, I don't think she had too strong of an accent, but it's definitely really like country vibes.
The first album's the most country of them all.
Yes. Yeah. So we'll see how much she leans into that. But
I saw, by the way, that and I don't know how true this is because you may be shocked to hear, so I've never signed a record contract, unfortunately.
Yes.
But I have seen that there are now clauses being put into record contracts that if you sign with whoever, that you cannot re-record and make your own version of the album.
Interesting.
For like 20 to 30 years until like 20, 30 years after the album. And it's got to be because of Swifty. Because of Taylor Swift.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know which artists are seeing those contracts, and also
newer artists, I assume.
I've also never signed a record label or a record deal. So I know, shocking. But I do know that there's some things because like Taylor writes all of her own music. Mm-hmm. So there was a thing because she owns the music. It was just that the record label owned the recordings. The publishing rights
or the recordings. Okay.
Yes. Well, yeah. And I think it was both. But yeah, so it probably would be a little different for an artist who's not writing their own music if they're having someone else write it.
I see.
That might be a factor, but yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised if that was the case, that people are writing that in because of, what's happening now, but I don't know. Yeah, it's messy.
This deep into the internet age though, if you can get any foothold with your own music, you don't need you can get on Spotify and all these places without. All they provide is promotion. I mean, if you can find it, if you can pay for your own recording, which I know is not cheap, but if you pay for your own recording, it makes like you can get out there without the need of it's the promotion. That's really what those publishers give you.
Yeah.
Because who's buying physical CDs anymore? Like nobody. It's all vinyl now or digital. Yeah. Like I haven't bought a CD since like 2015.
Oh, yes. I bought
2018 because I bought Reliant K's last album. Sorry, go ahead. That's Reliant K is my Taylor Swift in terms of like how big of a fan I am.
That's very valid. I'm going to be super honest with you. I didn't know they were still recording music.
They haven't made a new album since 2018, but they're still on tour. Okay. So I assume a new one will come at some point.
Okay. Yeah. So have they been touring this album for
No, they. I think they
years?
took a break. They released an album in 2016 called Air for Free, but the Relient K is really just two people. Honestly, I mean, that's really what it is.
Yeah,
but, and then they got married and stuff. So the second guy, I think, took a break, and then so the lead singer Matthew Thiessen wrote his own solo.
Oh, I thought that you were saying they got married to each other.
No, they're not gay.
Matthew
Thiessen.
I didn't know
they got
who was
married
in this
to
band.
women. They got married to women. Matthew Thiessen wrote his own. It made his own album, which I but he writes literally every Relient K song as it is. So it's basically Relient K, even if it doesn't say Relient K on the album. It's pretty good. It's not as good as Relient K because the other guy Matthew Hoops does bring some stuff to the table, I'm sure. So anyways, point being is I think they took a break for a few years and now they're doing, I think they're just touring because they're freaking popular. Like they sell out. Sure. So anyways, they're not Taylor Swift popular, but they're popular. So I'm hoping they do a new album. They've been teasing one.
Nice.
They haven't released any new music though since 2018 and I've been waiting. I will say, Rebekah, if you have not listened to them, because I know they're more popular back in the aughts, the 2000s, when they did all their.
It's been a minute.
It was more punk music then, or rock punk. They really changed. They made a shift in like 2009 into, I would say, much better. It's so much better. Like I like their earlier stuff, but like 2009, what's the album called? Shoot, I'm not Taylor Swift. It's not Taylor Swift level of fandom. I don't have. I know the album. I can picture it in my head. I couldn't tell you the name. Anyways, 2009, they made a shift, and I highly recommend Relient K. Collapsible, however, they released an album in 2013 called Collapsible Lung, and it's absolute trash.
Oh, okay.
They have one album that's absolute trash. I don't recommend. Absolute garbage. Everyone revolted when they released it. Everyone's like, what is this? This is absolute hot garbage. And Relient K's like, sorry, we didn't know.
That's so funny.
And so they made a better, and then 2016 they released an album and everyone's like, okay, everything's all forgiven now.
They have to make an official statement. Like,
I don't know if they made an official statement, but I definitely remember
that's
everybody
funny.
was like, Collapsible Lung is a piece of trash album. And I definitely remember the vibes were, oops, we're sorry. Oops, we didn't know.
So I guess my question is, can you still listen to that album on Spotify, or did they take it down?
Oh no, it's not like they didn't like. No, I mean it's up on. I'm sure it's up there. There's 2 songs worth it. It's the first and the last song of the album are worth it. Everything in between, it's like good bread, and then everything in the middle is like rotten meat. You know what I mean?
Oh,
if it's a sandwich. So
that's a very upsetting analogy.
Oops, we didn't know you didn't like rotten meat. It's Rebekah. It's like somebody else wrote it's like somebody else wrote the album. That's what it
is. That what happened?
That's what it feels. I mean, I've listened to enough Matthew Thiessen music to know that a lot of that stuff feels like somebody else had a heavy hand in writing of it.
Interesting.
Because it like, that's wow, so like this does not feel like any of the other 10 or 7 or 8 albums you guys have made. Like, even if you go back to the very first album, which is almost like super low budget and like the year 2000, and it's like 19-year-olds writing music, that feels more like Relient K than the 2013 out. And then like 2016, all of a sudden they're back to being like really good again. It's like, what happened in 2013? Back. Yeah. Oops, sorry.
Just a little blip, you know?
Oops, sorry.
I mean, it's good that I guess people gave them another chance and they didn't like lose their audience.
No, they definitely, they course corrected real quick. Thankfully. It was like,
that's good.
Like they tried making like almost like a, how do I say this? They almost went from making good music to they tried making soulless music is what it felt like soulless pop music.
Interesting.
With their 2013 album. So anyways, if you are interested in Relient K and you're listening, check out their, if I could get on my computer here, I could tell you. Their Air for Free album in 2016 is good.
If I go listen to their songs, I guess if I like that album from 2013, I just shouldn't tell you.
No, you can tell me. It just, I would question your taste in music because nobody likes it.
Yeah, valid.
I've never heard anybody defend the album.
I mean, I'm here to give hot takes, so.
Yeah. Air for Free is a good one if you're Forget and Not Slow Down. That was the 2009 album. That was really good. Forget and Not Slow Down and Air for Free. They've done some other stuff before that, but if you like Air for Free or Forget and Not Slow Down, then check out the earlier stuff. Because really, in 2004 is when they got the most popular. But anyways, that's my version of Taylor Swift. They just haven't released anything in 5 or 6 years now. So
yeah.
Rebekah will be back in 2 weeks when we do another winter analysis. And by then, You'll be back when they actually do a regular, normal merge episode, I hope.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Next week's just more nonsense.
The only thing I do have to say, I hope that Katurah and Bruce are still feuding the next time we do an episode. Because if that gets resolved next week, if one of them goes home,
you're gonna miss out.
I would be very sad to not talk about it.
Also, I know it's the end of the podcast. If you're here, you're a true fan. Let's put it that way at this point. Mary and I will be doing a Big Brother 25 podcast after the finale. Finale's on Thursday, November the 9th. We're going to record it on November the 10th and release it on Patreon that day. And then it'll be on YouTube November the 11th, which is Saturday, Veterans Day. So
Veterans Day. Yep.
Veterans Day. Salute to all the veterans by releasing a podcast about the Big Brother show. Let's leave it there. It's not disrespectful. I'm a veteran. All right. I think that's how it works, right? It can't be offensive if I'm the veteran. Yeah.
Yeah, it's allowed.
Yeah. Nobody cares. Veterans just want to be we don't, I don't know. Veterans in general, actually some want the thanks and others are just can I get free food today? Is that what's happening?
That's so valid though. That's so valid.
That's me. I'm at Denny's. I'm it's free breakfast today, right? Anyways. All right. Well, we thank you all for listening and we'll see you all next time. Bye.